Somebody You Love acknowledges that the lands and waterways of so-called Australia were stolen. I'm recording on the lands of the Darug and Gundungurra peoples, and Holly is recording on the lands of the Ngunnawal and Ngambri people. Welcome to Somebody You Love, or The Sale of Two Titties. I'm Jenna Love.
And I'm Holly Hart.
And we're experts in disappointing our parents, breaching community guidelines, and banging the people who vote against our rights.
Today we are here to chat about a TV series that aired, I believe, in March of 2025, which is the year that we are still currently in, unfortunately, perhaps. It's a really weird year on this planet. This show was made in New Zealand, and it's called Madam.
It is, with no E on the end. Yeah, so it's a New Zealand show. It's got a bunch of New Zealand and Aussie actors in it. We hesitated about reacting to this one just because we don't know if all of our listeners will be able to access the show. If you are in Australia, you can go to the 9 Now app or 9 Online, Channel 9. Unfortunately, it is on there. There are 10 episodes. They're like half an hour each, so it's very kind of watchable. We just watched the first 2 episodes and we are reacting to that only, so there won't be any spoilers. International listeners, I imagine you'll be able to get onto it with a VPN. But otherwise, we'll try, we'll go through the plot so you have a sense anyway, especially at least in the first 2 episodes. It's not particularly complicated, so you should be able to follow along, even if you haven't been able to watch the show.
I've done a little bit of research into where international people can watch it online, and it looks like it's available in the USA on Max, but I just will let you know there is an older series, an older show called Madam. So if you do Google this one, you need to look up Madam 2024. I found that's the best way to find the show.
2024, even though it aired this year?
I think because it was made in 2024.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Yep, strangely. I mean, I can see it now on Apple TV and there's a bunch of different sites, but I'm sure it depends where you are in the world. So this show is based on the memoir Madam by Antonia Murphy, which tells her own personal story of finding out that sex work was decriminalised in New Zealand and starting her own brothel, which is what we see here.
It's probably worth mentioning that although we do refer to what New Zealand has in place as a decriminalisation model, it's certainly not what we would call full decrim. The things that are not included under that are migrants. At the last minute, they shoved in an amendment to the bill which criminalised migrants working in the sex industry. The other thing that is illegal is offering services and engaging in services without barrier protection. So that means that condoms have to be used for all vaginal and anal penetration of any kind, have to be used for oral on both people with penises and people with vulvas, or not condoms on vulvas, but dams. So that is absolutely not what I would consider to be decrim, but people do just refer to New Zealand as having decrim, even though really it's actually a legalisation model, like a pretty decent one, but there's some pretty big issues with it, a couple of big issues with it.
Antonia plugs her memoir as Madam is the only Madam memoir to come from a decriminalised environment, so I can be entirely candid about my experiences without the risk of prosecution. So that's nice for her.
I don't know if it's true.
I'm
because
I was
there's
hoping
a
that
bunch of workers over the years in New South Wales have, and we've had it longer than New Zealand has, but they really don't like to acknowledge that. They really like to pretend they're the only ones with decrim.
I was hoping my
have it.
Thick layer of snark
I did get that. Yes.
No, I'm hoping the listeners also are picking up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. I know she has to plug her book, but it's also the only Madam memoir in the smartphone era.
What?
Okay.
What?
Yep.
What do you
Yep.
mean?
So she includes real communications with clients and escorts.
Yeah. Yeah. So do plenty of memoirs.
But hers is the madam one.
Oh. Because she's a madam, of course. I forgot
she's a madam.
about the show we just watched.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah. Well, cool. She can do whatever she wants then. All right, so we meet Mackenzie Lee, who is played by Rachel Griffiths, confusingly an Aussie actress who is doing an American accent. Which, I mean, she's been in plenty of American things, but I feel like it's confusing watching a Kiwi show, and when she starts speaking, you're like, Rachel, babes, what are you doing? But anyway, that's fine. She's acting.
Feels unnecessary, doesn't it? I know she's portraying this character, but I'm like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, right. I guess I didn't even think about it because it's autobiographical, so that's an element. Yeah. But is it also, yes. I think it's supposed to be showing that she's from the US, which has a completely different political and legislative climate when it comes to sex work. I think that must be the angle.
I'll allow it, yeah.
But it's a bit weird.
Yeah.
So we meet her, and pretty much first scene is she is discovering her husband having an affair. Well, so she thinks he's having an affair. She pretty quickly discovers that the other woman she sees is actually a sex worker.
The way she discovers that is interesting. I don't know if I missed something there, but we sort of just open right up to her arriving at a motel, and seeing her husband embrace a woman and leave, and then she approaches and knocks and then walks in through the unlocked door. So many issues with this. Plethora of issues.
So many.
Firstly,
it is, but I do think the show seems to do that a lot. Like, it skips a lot of setups.
Sure.
And then you're just in a situation where you're like, how did this come to be?
Happening? Yeah. Look, if I, as a worker, was in any venue and a random woman was in my room, a random anyone, I would lose my shit. I would go, who the fuck? Get out. What are you, like, I would freak out. It's incredibly vulnerable.
Yep.
She's in her lingerie parading around this little room, she, the worker, and there's a stranger in there confronting her about what her husband's doing. No way. That is so incredibly dangerous. But in the show, she
is being way too blasé.
Very.
Like, she is just like, this happens once a week, acting like she knows the drill. She's like, this will happen and then you'll feel this way and blah, blah, blah. And, like, I can tell you for a fact, like, that is not something that happens to us. Well, we don't normally have them turn up in the room.
No way.
A lot of sex workers will have a story once, maybe, in their entire career of having been contacted by someone's partner. But certainly not showing up. And as I said, it's like once. And it's something we all are like, oh God, what will we do if and when that happens? Like, no one wants that to happen. No one is like, oh yeah, this is just part of the business at all.
Yeah. It's pretty shocking to watch as a worker. And just she's so calm having this chat. And then, Mack sits down and looks at the money and holds it in her hand, the cash from the booking, and says, I can see it's easy money. Sorry, but not only are you not coming in my area, but you picking up my money and looking at it like
my belongings. And
who the fuck are you? It's really outrageous.
Sitting on the bed, which maybe has your husband's cum on it. Like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm. It's so outlandish and awful and just awful.
But I guess in the context of the scene, the worker is acting like it's the most normal thing ever to happen.
100%.
So I guess in Mack's defense, she's like, well, this seems chill, but deranged.
Yeah.
I did really enjoy when Mack was on the phone to someone and she said, I'm just winding up with a contractor, which was supposed to be this little like wink, wink, like, oh, ha, ha, ha. But I thought, well, yeah, that is exactly what's happening actually. And she is having a conversation with a contractor. And I actually thought that was quite a great little line to have in there. Although I imagine some people watching the show would just be like, lol, whatever, like it's a contract. But that is actually the most kind of analogous description of the role. So she goes and picks up one of her sons who is disabled and takes him home, and then we meet her other son and the husband. So I noticed that when she was talking to the husband about his other bank account, what it sounds like happens is that he transfers a deposit that's $180 and then he pays the remainder in cash. And I just thought that seemed really accurate. Like the figures themselves, I know that New Zealand's rates are typically a bit lower than ours, but the amount of money and the fact that it sounds like there's a digital transaction going on to confirm the appointment, to secure the spot, and then cash being paid at the time of appointment. And I thought that was just a nice little touch in there.
I actually didn't hear it that way. I thought that the conversation was that he was just transferring it from their account, the joint account, into his little, and then he was taking the cash out. That's how I heard it, but I could have been wrong. So I may have not heard that.
It could be that.
Sorry, so I don't know.
No, that definitely could be that as well, I guess.
I don't know.
But that seems like she's going to be like, where's $180 going every week? Or what? Like that seems like a strange system.
I don't know.
But, okay, maybe.
All of the scenes involving Mack and her husband I just found so incredibly unrealistic. They do not have any chemistry whatsoever. And I know that they're meant to be a couple who's been together for a while and they're tired and they've been through a lot. And that's fine. There's many couples like that. There are many couples that don't have much chemistry at all in general. But if that's what they were going for, fine. But I don't think it is. I think that the story that they're sort of starting to, or that it seems that they're starting to tell, is that these are two people who feel like they can make it, and there's something there worth saving, and all of that sort of story. And however, I just do not feel any chemistry. I feel like they don't even, there is like they've never, how did they make those babies? I don't understand. There is nothing between them. So I don't know. It's just a take.
I thought it was really great to see some disability representation. It seems to me, after only having watched 2 episodes, that this thing about having a son with a profound disability, that is going to factor into her motivations for running this business, their need for money, et cetera, and the costs associated with that. And I thought that was, incredibly realistic. We know there's such huge intersectionality when it comes to disability and sex work, both with people in the industry having disabilities, but also there's a lot of people working in the industry who have loved ones or who are carers for either young people or people with disability, etc., disabled people, I should say. That's more the preferred term these days. And so, I think that's really, really great to show. And I'm speculating a little bit, but it seems like that's going to become more and more of a motivating factor in her actions. So she starts researching the sex industry in New Zealand. She gets on Google and is like, what's the deal over here? And then she goes to a brothel that night, and the same worker is there. So she's doing a long day of work. We later find out, because I was kind of like, wait, is this the only brothel in town? But then later on, someone says it's the only brothel in town. So I guess that explains why she's there. But, I guess... yeah, it's plenty of people do work independently and at brothels, and sometimes brothels do offer alcohol, so maybe it all makes sense. But it just seems very coincidental that she happened to be there. And that leads us into one of the most unhinged scenes, or couple of scenes, I've ever seen in my life. Like, what the fuck is happening? So first thing I notice is what's her name? Tui. Who's the sex worker who was with Mack's husband at the beginning. She is wearing the heaviest fucking makeup and like a fully thick smoky eye, and a few of the other workers are as well. And a lot of them are also wearing like thick glitter on their eyelids. And it's not that there aren't sex workers who do wear their makeup like that, but I was like, they look like performers. Like they look like strippers. They look like they belong on a stage. Like they were just wearing so much makeup. And there's, as I said, there are absolutely sex workers who do their makeup like that. I know sometimes Holly loves a big smoky eye, but I guess it's not that it's not realistic for them to look that way. But I guess I was like, it's feeling like a stereotype to me, and I would have appreciated, them just looking like normal people. Because actually, when you do go into a brothel, most of the workers are just wearing normal makeup, not glitter especially. I mean, she's going to go blind. That is a hazard and a half. As someone who's trained as a makeup artist and not trained as a hooker, but, experience with both, that's a bad combo.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm guessing this is where you saw a lot of the makeup. We move into the workers doing a lineup. Now, should have prefaced this episode at the start. Neither of us have worked in New Zealand. We don't know what it's like.
I've never even been. Have you ever been to New Zealand?
No, never been to New Zealand.
No, we got no idea.
I have been to places. I know I have agoraphobia now, but I did go to places as a young person. And no, I've not ever been to New Zealand. And yes, certainly never worked there. So I don't have a whole lot of insight into how things work over there. Mm-hmm. And also, I have not worked in a parlour in 10, 11, 12-ish years. So I also don't know 100% how things are being done these days, and I did take note of some of the something they referenced. I think it was maybe Joe Rogan that they referenced in one of the episodes that made me go, okay, it's today. It's meant to be now.
It's contemporary, yeah.
It is contemporary, yeah. So I'm not sure if there's things that we're going to pick on or things that we'll observe that maybe are just different today. However, I don't
know. In New Zealand.
Or in New Zealand. I don't know. I've never heard of a brothel in the Southern Hemisphere doing a lineup. The only place I've seen it is in Nevada on TV.
The Bunny Ranch.
Yeah.
100%.
I don't think it's a done thing. I think that it was bizarre.
No, agreed.
Yeah.
So I was watching it with Mr. Love last night. And he was like, oh, my God, I don't think I could do, because he's never been into a brothel. And he was like, I don't think I could do that. I was like, oh, babe, that's not what it's like.
No.
That is absolutely not what it's like. I said, that's what they do at the Bunny Ranch. Like, this is not, but as we said, maybe they do, maybe it is exactly like that in New Zealand. I know plenty of workers and some of our listeners have come from New Zealand, have worked there before, so they might be able to tell us. But that is highly unusual. Generally, in our country, what I've experienced and heard about is the client will sit in the intro room and then workers will come in one at a time. The other one, which is less common, but I have had happen in a couple of places I've worked, is where each worker has their own room and the client actually goes around to their rooms. But either way, it's one-on-one interactions, not a literal lineup. Oh, you've had different.
There is also quite a few places around Australia a lounge meeting situation where you all come in.
Oh, sure. Yes, good point.
Everyone's hanging out in a lounge, and the workers do have a space where they can get ready, but they come out and they. It is not as formal as a stand up in a row and sort of flirt with me and look sexy like a row of meat, but it is a little bit more group focused sort of thing.
And so if that's a thing that happens, how do you feel about this rando woman watching the lineup happen?
What? That would just never happen. It's incredible.
Doing? Absolutely not.
This woman that none of us know is just going to come in, and the client, what's he thinking? Oh, okay, some stranger.
Well, I feel like we find out in the next scene that it's his kink. Like, I think he's into it because in the next scene, he gets her to move so he can see her better.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So he must be, but then how did that situation work out? That she rocks up at this brothel on a whim, is like, hi, I've got a kink for watching a client do a thing. This is what I want to do. And at the same time, there happens to be a client there who's like, I've got a kink for some random woman watching me do the whole process of a booking. Like, so who knows how that fucking happened?
Yeah. I feel
like also I think the lineup, like intros are quite, I would not want someone else watching me do an intro. Because it's so, like, you're trying to be sexy. You are flirting. You're trying to get someone to want to have sex with you. And that's very vulnerable. Like, I wouldn't want a random person just watching me trying to secure a client. That would feel really not nice.
Yeah. So they go into the room into this booking, and it is absolutely.
And the workers also. So all three of these people are okay with it. The worker's like, "Yep, this is normal." She's like, "Yep, cool." He's like, "Cool." Like, what? How did this happen? Anyway,
It's
yes,
so far-fetched.
we get in there. And what is she getting out of this? Like, does she actually have to watch the sex to learn what she wants to learn about the business?
It does. It feels like it feels gratuitous.
Yes,
it's yucky.
Absolutely.
The worker says, "Oh, I'm going to take this cat off the bed, a giant fucking Maine Coon, a giant fucking
gorgeous cat though,
beautiful
gorgeous
cat, maybe an 8-kilo cat that's just hanging out in the room," and says, "Oh, can you put it in the crate while I do this booking?" Just bizarre, because there's a lot of brothel cats out there. Like, there's a lot of brothels that do have cats in them.
I thought it was good representation of brothel cats.
I don't think it is good representation.
Okay, sorry. It was good that it was included.
Sure.
It was good that there was a cat, but the way it was done was wrong. Yeah.
Yes, we're all about, cat representation. But why was it in on the work bed? That is wild.
Yeah,
Today, I went to get my eyelashes done, and I'm obsessed with my Lash Tex cat. And she said, "I'd love to let you hold the cat while you get your lashes done, but it'd just be my luck that the next person that comes in has like an anaphylactic thing with cats."
Totally.
Like, you just can't. You can take these risks, but in a brothel where all of these people, there's a higher volume venue in a lot of brothels, and you've got a cat just sitting on the work bed all the time. It's it's
a furry cat,
a very
like a
big, very
cat,
long hair cat. Yeah, it's just not happening. So that was insane.
But I liked that there was a cat, and I was like, yes, it's good to show that there are always cats around where there are hookers.
Definitely true.
So he wants to come in her hair, which is actually not something I've ever had someone request.
No.
I'm sure there's people who want that, but it's quite odd. And she says $50 extra, which is absolutely nowhere near enough extra when she is working in a brothel where you don't get much turnaround time, and she has long and curly hair. Absolutely not. $50 is not enough for that, and bitch needs to be charging more for that.
I think there was a lot of bits in that voyeur scene that they were trying to make jokes and they were trying to make it funny, and I just was not laughing. Like, it was just they were making all these little jokes in the midst of it and stopping, and she's ruining the mood, and she's asking questions about how much she earns, and I think it was just trying to be funny, and I just didn't think it was funny. I thought it was a really lame and unrealistic, and like I said, just gratuitous. I just absolutely hated it. I thought it was silly.
Yeah. Mr. Love was like, it's supposed to be funny, right? This is supposed to be funny, which is always a rough question to be asking yourself, isn't it?
Yes.
You know? And I was like, yeah, I think so. I think that's what's happening here.
Yeah.
And I can see, I guess, maybe civilians finding it like a funny scene.
Perhaps, if you don't.
But I guess for us, we were just like, well, this isn't. What?
Yeah.
She says, in response to the question about the pay, she says on a good night she earns $500. New Zealand dollars, obviously. And as I said, from what we're told, the rates are lower in New Zealand. So that sounds potentially quite accurate to me.
That didn't feel...
Whether she was telling the truth or not is a different story.
Yeah.
I mean, she, but she sounded honest. Like, it sounded, didn't seem like there was any reason for her to make it up necessarily. And then, Mack says, oh, do you get holiday pay? Which, again, I think was supposed to be a joke, like, oh, ha, 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 as if hookers get holiday pay. And I was like, well, it's not actually about, like, you've just asked a really fucking stupid question because they're not employees, are they? Like, obviously not. It's a contractor situation. Like, you are the one that clocked that they were contractors, and here you are not understanding the fucking fundamental. Oh, you're going to open a business, are you? Of course you are. You know fucking nothing about anything. So I just thought that was really, like, it was clearly a line, I guess, supposed to be a joke, and it was just annoying.
Yeah. I feel like there's some things in here that I'm going to say that are quite scathing, and when I say in here, I mean in this whole show. But I just want to make it really clear that I'm not having a go at Antonia Murphy, the woman who wrote the book, because I have not read the book and I don't know how they have taken things out of context with this show and how the portrayal has differed from her actual lived experience. And I know that she identifies herself as a feminist and that she really ensured that there were people from the brothel that she owns, sex workers consulting on the show. So I want to give her credit where that's due, and just also, I really don't want this to be that I'm slamming her. But yes, this portrayal, there were a lot of problems with it for me. I just want to make the distinction that this is removed from her life and removed from her memoir, because I don't know what those things are like.
That's interesting. So is she still running a brothel?
I don't know if she is. I believe it's still her brothel. I'm not sure if she's running it, but it's her brothel exists still.
Because I think that's interesting as well, right? Because then she's like, I can be completely honest because it was under decrim. And it's like, but you can't be completely honest because you're still making money off of this.
Yeah, true.
Like, actually, that is a total conflict of interest, Not that it shouldn't be made, but, I mean, she's got a vested interest in herself being portrayed a certain way and her business being portrayed a certain way.
Yeah.
So, I was going to say as well, I actually quite enjoyed the show. Like, I think I'll keep watching it. But I have a lot of negatives about it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the best show ever made. And I have a lot of criticisms, but that's in the view of this being, the whole point of this episode is us saying how accurate and how helpful is this representation. And so that's the lens through which I'm looking at it.
I absolutely hated the show. I will absolutely not be watching any more episodes, and I could not finish it fast enough. I think it's absolutely awful.
That is so funny.
That's our David and Margaret for you.
There you go. Yeah, that's nice. So, I mean, I fucking hate her. I want to stab her.
Oh,
but anyway.
I've never heard such violence from you.
I've said things like that before.
You have, I know.
You've heard my dark side. So the next morning, literally, this is hours later. Like, this whole thing, so far we've been, 16 hours or something? Next morning, she decides she's going to open a brothel. She's made an appointment at the bank to get the loan. Then, inexplicably, her husband turns up at the bank. Like, I guess there's just the one bank in town because it's a small town. So he just, turns up at the same time. And then the dude from Fisk is there, and you're like, well, that's weird. And the bank won't give her Fisk? It's just a comedy, an Australian comedy.
I wouldn't watch
just Australian the same actor
comedies.
In.
Right.
Yeah, no, of course you don't. Yeah, that's partly why you hated this, I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, now, I liked this because the bank won't give her a loan because of their morality clause. Mm-hmm. So I was like, we're touching on financial discrimination. Yeah. We love it. I wanted to punch her because she was like, but it's going to be an ethical brothel. And I was like, babes, welcome. So you discovered that the sex industry exists less than 24 hours ago. Fucking welcome. Mm-hmm. So I appreciated that. I thought that was she got a bit of a slap to the face, a bit of a wake-up call, which was nice.
It was really good for them to delve into that.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic, And she's like, no, but it's decriminalised here. And it's like, babes, no. But then, so she decides to run it out of a motel instead, basically.
Yeah.
So I've tried to look up the New Zealand laws, and it seems like that is actually legal there, because that would not be legal most places, maybe any places. No, but not as a brothel. Like, you couldn't operate a commercial business from, in a residential area or within a motel like that. It's more about business licensing and zoning. It's not to do with the sex industry being an issue. It'd be the same with other businesses. It's just, But it seems like maybe that would be legal in New Zealand. Not that we care if people do things that are illegal, but, she's going to be all ethical brothel. And I mean, fuck me. If you want to play a drinking game, watch this show and drink every time she says ethical brothel.
Yes.
Because you'll be slaughtered. My God, I feel triggered by that phrase now. She's said it so many goddamn times.
She has this rhetoric the whole way through that, well, because sex work is legal, it's all going to be above board. Everything's above board. It's legal, though. It's legal. And that is a take that you do hear some civilians say to us online, and particularly a lot of Jenna's advocacy videos. You see people go, oh, but it's legal. There's no problems. And to think that, I mean, let's not even go into the discrimination that is faced by sex workers and anything sex worker adjacent. But you think that because something is legal that there's not going to be exploitation and that there's not shitty things happening in it. Have you looked at hospitality? Have you looked at domestic services? There's so many industries that it doesn't matter how legal a job is, people can be exploited. And that doesn't mean people are necessarily being exploited in sex work, but she just kept having this idea that that everything was going to be A-okay because there's the law is not going to be a problem. Well, there's still, it just...
And she sees like a need for this quote unquote ethical brothel because she went to one brothel one night, met a receptionist for 2 minutes, and he was a dickhead. And so she's decided that she needs to fix the industry. Like, where is this fucking audacity coming from?
It's crazy. And
like he might have been having a bad night. I mean, obviously he's going to be a dickhead of a character, but like maybe he was having a bad night. Maybe like if I went into any business and the receptionist was, seemed like a misogynistic prick, I'd be like, okay, I probably won't patronize that business anymore. I'm not going to fucking open up my own one and say this industry needs to be fixed. Like what?
I'm going to seem like a really bad feminist because I don't actually think he was being that awful. I don't want to be
same.
We should allow people to be shitheads. I think people should not be shitheads. But he had stupid man jokes, okay? God, if we could eliminate all stupid man jokes, what a different world we'd live in. But that's it. And some of what he was saying was annoying and stupid, but ultimately, he didn't seem harmful. He seemed like, as you said, any idiot receptionist at any business that you could work at. It's wild.
Yeah. In my experience also, though, quite rare for it to be a man on the desk.
Yes, very rare. Yeah.
That's the other thing I was going to say. When they were doing the lineup, my experience in brothels here has been... whoever's on, like if it's management, reception or whatever, and you might have some insight into this because you've done some reception work a long time ago, is that they go to so much effort to make it so that clients don't like bump into each other. There was one brothel I worked at that had this like hectic series of curtains.
Yeah.
And it would be like, you turn left, then you close that curtain, then you open, then you let him out, because they don't want people bumping into one another and getting awkward and whatever. So that just added this whole idea of them just being in one room and then she just comes in and watches. I was like, this is just so far removed from what the reality is, at least in my experience.
Absolutely. So she's made this decision overnight, as you said, to open the brothel. She's gone to look into this loan. She asks for $50,000, which blew my mind because not only is that just not enough money to open many businesses, but she's not even researched the regulatory hoops involved with starting a brothel or even starting a business registration or taxation, the money to fit out a place, which we know she resolves by going to a motel. But at this stage, we didn't know that. But the rent that she's going to have to pay, maybe a year up front on whatever place she has, insurance, you have to have certain insurances on your business, security.
And as we know, insurance is very difficult to get in the sex industry.
Absolutely.
And if you can get it, it's very expensive.
Yep. Security doors, CCTV, a website, even getting a website built, all of these things. I just don't, $50,000 is not going to cover them. It's crazy that she came up with this figure of 50. She says to the bank.
I mean, keeping in mind, I think like things are cheaper. Like I think that's.
Sure, maybe a dollar goes a bit further.
No, it's not equivalent, but still, yeah. But still,
perhaps. I still thought 50,000 was crazy. But then they did show that she's aiming to do it from a motel, which was a whole different thing. So I'll allow some of that 50 to be.
But that's not what she was asking for the loan for, was it? Because I thought she had no, it wasn't. That wasn't her original plan.
Because she called all of the commercial businesses in the city.
Yeah, and they wouldn't let her.
And yes,
Yeah.
even though it's legal, she says. So her numbers.
Surprise, surprise, babe. Discrimination exists. Welcome.
She gave these numbers on how many people live in the city, and she says that if she gets 10% of the market share, she gets 35 gross per week. Now, I don't know if she's saying 3,500 or 35,000. I'm thinking she meant 35,000. 10% market share, 35 gross per week, she said. On a 50K startup, are you thinking 35,000?
And
or is she thinking 3,500?
Yeah, because you don't say 3,500 though. No one says that.
35 gross. That wouldn't be. I think she meant.
You wouldn't say that. Wouldn't mean 3,500.
Yeah. If you do watch this show and you see this bit and you have any insight onto what she meant by that, let us know, because that was an insane number to think that she was going to make almost her investment back in a week. Just wild.
But also this like market share thing. Like, how has she worked out? Based on the population, how does she know how many of them are likely to visit a brothel? And where has she gotten all that from?
I can't remember. She does say. She says where she got that number from.
Oh, she does?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah. She says that she looked at the client list, or she looked at something that, I don't know. I can't remember now. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Then we go on to like a montage of interviews, which I'm sure you probably hated, but I quite enjoy. I found it very funny. Horrific.
Absolutely horrific. That's not how a brothel works. You don't sit down and be
no, not at all.
Do?
Not at all.
Do you do anal? No, what?
But Holly, this bitch isn't running a brothel. She's running an ethical brothel. It's different.
Right. So she needs to know all of the vulgarities of it. Sure. Okay.
Yeah, I did think it was important that we say that is absolutely not what a quote-unquote job interview at a brothel looks like.
Crazy.
I mean, my job interviews at brothels looked like, okay, well, we've already got someone called Jenna, so we need to come up with a different name for you. Do you want to work nights or days? Mm-hmm. And then,
are you free tomorrow?
Are you going to stick around and work now?
Yes.
Or, yeah. Yeah, and I was like, oh no, I just came into, So that's the extent of it. There was no questioning about my butthole. There was no, none of that. It was just like, you've showed up and, I'm sure some are a bit more stringent, but it's not, you don't sit down and have a interview like you're trying to work at, I don't know, another company. What are they called? Real companies where real people work.
I also noticed that she called Tui in the lead up to this, and I'm like, so hang on, Tui was the worker that she watched in on the booking with. So what this worker... No.
Tui is the one that had sex with the husband.
Sorry, who was the one she... No, okay, sorry. Okay,
Desia?
Skip that.
Is that...
Desire.
Yeah, Desia. Oh. Yeah, okay. I get it. Please keep that in. Yeah. That's very funny.
I noticed at one point that Mack...
Oh, yes.
Yes. I noticed at one point that Mack is calling one of the workers, and I'm like, hang on. I think it was the worker from the booking that she had. What this worker went, oh, this is great. Okay, I'll just give you my number. Now, I know there are plenty of workers in brothels who will give their numbers to clients to hustle some private work. That's fine. But it doesn't, in my experience, happen very often. And it certainly wouldn't happen with this weird lady who came in just to watch once. Like, it just feels insane.
Yeah, and asked annoying questions.
Yes. I was like, oh, that's realistic. Yeah. Okay, she's just got her number now. Bullshit.
And also, she called it and the sex worker answered?
Yes.
Unhinged. The least realistic thing in the show.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, as if you'd be answering phone calls on your work phone. Absolutely not. At one point, I wrote down, quote, run by women. At some point in the interview, someone said something about it. I don't know if it was Mack or whatever, talking about it being like run by women as though that means something. And I just wanted to say it absolutely doesn't.
She also keeps talking about an ethical brothel. I don't know if you caught that bit. But does it exist? Is there such thing as an ethical brothel?
Is there such thing as any business being ethical?
Yeah.
When one person is running a business and the other people are working and paying their wages.
Yeah.
I would argue no.
There's a philosophical thing for you all.
But also, is it even a brothel? We'll get to that in the next episode. But that's my question. Because it's a weird little hybrid thing she's coming up with here. So Mack goes home and talks to her husband about it. I did enjoy at one point he referred to her doing like an eat, pray, pimp, which just made me do a little snort. I did enjoy that. But yeah, that's as you touched on, that scene was very strange. It was all she was like, no, I'm fine that you cheated on me. And to be honest, like I have met people like that, and I actually didn't think that was as unrealistic as I'm sure some people think it is. But it was more that then he just switched and suddenly was like mad and like it was just all very odd.
It was uncomfortable. And then in her describing her plan to everyone that she encounters from that point on, the amount of savior complex in it just sickened me.
Yep.
I'm rescuing these poor women just was really, really gross.
Disgusting.
Especially considering that only one of these people actually is coming from this brothel that she thinks, or maybe there was a few of those workers, had come from this brothel that she thought was poorly run, and the rest were just rando women who thought it would be fun to be a hooker. So I don't know if she's rescuing women at all. Sure, she's maybe creating a better service in that niche. That's fine. You can say that. You can say, I think there's a niche here and I think I can do it better than other people. But acting like these were exploited people that she's helping, I'm not sure about that.
It was absolutely, by the end of the first episode, I was like, I fucking hate this woman. She is disgusting.
Yeah.
Like And now when this first aired, I watched the first episode and I posted a couple of dot points online, and a couple of my peers responded to me and said that they had watched it all, and they said, like, it does get better, and I think she gets a bit of a comeuppance, and we start to see it a little bit in episode 2 where the sex workers kind of put her in her place and are like, actually, you don't know what you're fucking talking about. So it's possible that it does, kind of get better. But now that I'm hearing it's based on a real person, I feel like less certain that that's the case. Anyway, at the end of the episode, she turns up at the motel, and weirdly all of the interviewees have like turned up and they're like, cool, we're ready to work. Which is just, again, weird. But it ends with Milkshake by Khalees, and that's great. That's always good. And then we move in.
We go to episode
number 2.
Yep.
So it seems they are doing some advertising and they've got their first client. Now, this whole thing, she's got no walk-ins and no lineups.
Bizarre.
And in my mind, while probably in terms of zoning legislation it would be classified as a brothel, I feel like it's an agency.
Yes.
Like, I actually just don't even think it's a brothel.
Yes.
Because if there's no walk-ins, no light, like, what do you mean? You're just an agent. You're not, but you happen to be based in the same location. Like, you happen to have some rooms for rent, essentially.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
Agree.
I'm like, okay, so your way of creating an ethical brothel was to not create a brothel at all. Okay, cool. Done.
True. She asks for the first booking, what would you like to do with her? She's on the phone to the client.
know.
What would you like to do with her? What the fuck is that question? Why would you not have asked any of the workers or talk to somebody about what is the appropriate way to set up these bookings? Sorry.
Yes.
If there's thumping in the background, I'm emphatically hitting the table with my pencil because I'm annoyed that you book in with this client and say, what do you want to do with her? What? Yuck. The whole thing was yuck.
Yep. And then I think does he say like girlfriend experience? He responds with something.
He says girlfriend experience.
So I'm like, oh, well, this dude knows the fucking lingo.
Yes.
Like, and so I'm assuming what she was asking was, which service would you like?
Yes.
Like, it sounds like maybe they've got a couple of tiers or whatever.
Sure.
That's fine. But then you ask that.
Yes.
You don't say, what do you want to do with her?
Exactly.
Because that is just, you're going to get a wank phone call.
Yeah.
Which just shows she hasn't worked a day in the industry and she has no fucking clue. So there appears to be a childcare centre next door. Is that next door to the motel?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
And they, or the person who runs it or whatever, starts a petition to have the brothel shut down. Pretty realistic, pretty on brand.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think that's a really good inclusion to have in there. I appreciated that.
So she set up this brothel with one of the motel rooms as an office and workers' room where they hang out between bookings, which you'd be in there a long time if you're not taking walk-ins, and they have to book significantly in advance. It's all
So why are you waiting there?
makes absolutely no sense.
Why are they just living there now? Because also this is just a residential home now.
It's all very strange. But I did think that the representation of the workers' room was really accurate. People sort of draped over furniture, some people putting things in the microwave, some people doing their beauty things, scrolling on their phones. It was all really, really accurate. And you can tell you can see the parts where workers have had significant contribution 100%. To it. Yeah, that was really, really accurate. Except there was no TV on. They were just in this silent room just having a chat. I feel like there's got to be there's always a TV going in a broth. Anyway.
I've actually never seen a TV in a broth.
Wow.
Although maybe that's also, like, I feel like the time when I was working in broths, we were all on our phones. And I feel like when you were working, a big part of that was earlier.
Yeah.
And maybe there was less smartphones and stuff. Not that you're ancient.
I'm an old girl. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. The first brothel that I was in that was pre-smartphone, and then a few there was pre...
Because I worked private first and then went into brothels.
Yeah, true.
So they're not getting any customers, and the workers realise that she's not answering calls from a whole bunch of numbers that she's blocked.
So I don't know how she's made these decisions on who she thinks is a creep, because that's what she says. She doesn't want to have people who are a creep or who have a fetish or things like that. So she's obviously made these.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
Just people that have fetishes are not okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God, babe. It's almost like there's a million other industries you could have chosen to open a business in. Fucking hell.
It does seem like a big decision to make, but later in the episode, and sorry to jump forward a bit, but one of the workers decides to start to make their own decisions and look through the phone on as to who they're going to see in the booking. And I thought that was a really good representation as a worker of deciding how much risk you're willing to take. So somebody else obviously has decided for these workers by putting in her phone that these guys are creeps and not to answer. And then they're starting to make the decision, well, I'm going to engage this person and I'm going to make my own risk assessment. And I don't know whether I have anything really to say on that from a rights or advocacy sort of standpoint, but I just thought it was an accurate representation that every day that we have an inquiry, we decide, is this person somebody I'm comfortable seeing? And sometimes it's not as simple as he seems lovely or he seems like a shithead. There's a little in between where you're like, is this somebody wasting my time? Is this somebody who's really nice but they're a bit shy and they're having a bit of trouble with communicating effectively? And that's something that we do every day. So I liked that.
Yeah. And I mean, I think I've seen plenty of workers that have people saved in their phones with things like only if desperate or only if, feeling really good vibes, like you're feeling really resilient and strong that day or whatever. Because it absolutely, from one day to the next, you can go, I can totally handle that person today. The next day you may not be able to. And your choice and your like level of risk acceptance and your level of like comfort acceptance and discomfort acceptance rather can change from day to day depending on your mood and depending on your finances. And in this case, they got no fucking customers. So
Mack starts calling local businesses and associations to spruik her brothel, which is the worst strategy I've ever seen. It's creative. I don't think I'm sure there would be potentially somebody who might book as a result of it, but it just felt so 1995. Like, are you so disconnected from reality?
It was just trying to be funny.
Yeah, that's a lot of what this show felt like. And this must be what it's like to be you, where I was like, I don't know if this is a joke.
Yes.
Yeah. And
that is what it's like to be me everywhere in the world.
Yeah, I'm finding all of this quite annoying because if it is a joke, it's not funny. And if it's not a joke, it's annoying. So, yeah.
Welcome to my life.
Yeah.
I'm glad we've had this breakthrough. So then we get into discovering that there's a bit of an advertising monopoly, which I thought was so good to show. And it's another one of these things that civs don't really think about. Certainly not something I've seen represented ever before in media when it comes to sex work. The name of the website that kind of has the monopoly in the show is called Kiwi Chicks, and I mean, you know, I think those of us in the industry know exactly what website that's ripping off. And yeah, even, I mean, there are, I would say from what I hear in most places, there is usually one website that has a bit of an advertising monopoly. And it's something that has a really very significant impact on our work, on our ability to get work, on our well-being. It means we are often having to choose between making decisions that we feel are ethical. My God, she's ruined that word for me. That line up with our morals. It sometimes means we're having to give information over that we don't want to, which they do sort of cover in this, where the owner of Kiwi Chicks demands face photos with their names on the photo. So not even like along with the name, like it's the two things are together, which is the most dangerous kind of combo. So we're in situations where we have to hand over ID and we don't want to, or we have to pay a certain way that feels risky because we don't have protections around a lot of our financial stuff. So I thought that whole advertising monopoly thing, I really loved that it was covered, and I thought they hit on a few of the issues with it as well.
Yeah, it was really good. And he also, the owner of Kiwi Chicks in this show, was a dude with a camera. So he wanted to take photos of the workers, like his own photos for the website. And that is a very pervasive character, I think, in everywhere, is these dudes that just want to take pictures of women in the most provocative ways that they can. But especially in this scenario, it just played into this stereotypical creep, which was very accurate. Very accurate stereotype.
I think later on one of the workers says, the face photos he wants, they're just for his personal collection.
Yes.
Like, it's fine. Which I get what she's saying, but at the same time, it's still not fine. No. Like, I get that she's like, we have to do this. This is the way it works. I appreciate that she's realistic about it. But at the same time, we know that some of the biggest companies in the world can't fucking sort their data retention out.
Oh, my God.
So this old mate with a camera, like, no fucking way are we going to trust him with photos, you know. I did think it was good that Mack was like, what? Absolutely not, to him, because I'm surprised that she wasn't like, okay, great, I'll send you all their photos and their CVs because it's legal, so everything's fine. Like, I'm glad that she at least acknowledged that if they don't want to show their fucking faces online, they shouldn't have to. I'm surprised and glad.
Agree. She did say somewhere around that point, she's trying to change the culture of the industry, which made me vomit.
Oh. And she heard of the industry 2 days ago?
Yep.
Like, fuck you. What do you mean? How do you even know what the culture is? I'm, over a decade in and I'm still learning what the culture is. Fuck off.
My question here is, why are these workers not working privately? They've got access to a hotel right there that clearly doesn't give a fuck if they were working out of it. And like, what's happening? Why do they need her?
Because this show is brothel propaganda.
Right. Thank you. Okay. Excellent.
That's what I think.
It's
ethical brothel propaganda.
Ethical propaganda. Okay.
There's got to be a portmanteau there. Ethical. No, it doesn't.
Brothaganda.
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 Or brothical. It's brothical propaganda. Oh, shit. All right. We go to the back room or the workers' room or whatever you want to call it that you referenced before, and they're having some, the workers are sitting around having some chats, and Goldie, who's this worker, well, at this point, she's not a worker. She's somebody who thinks maybe doing sex work might be fun. Doesn't even seem like she's had much sex with men, I don't think. I don't know. But she asks, how do you know what size condom to use? Which I thought, great question. Like, really good question. And I don't remember how I knew at first. Like, it just takes, you kind of got to see a bunch of different penises before you have a good idea, to be honest. But the workers are so unhelpful. Like, one's making jokes, which is fine. But then, I think it's Tui, who goes, well, what you do is you just line them up in size order, and then when the time comes, you put it on. And I'm like, she didn't ask how to put them in fucking numerical order. She asked, how do you know which size? Like, the woman knows how to sort through a few different objects of different sizes. The issue, like, that just was so unhelpful. And she was like, cool, okay, got it. What? Very unhelpful. But the fact that different sizes of condoms were mentioned was really nice, because that's something that in broad society just, like, doesn't get brought up. But yeah, I thought they really could have helped her out there. Not that I know what the answer is. Like, I wouldn't be like, well, if it's this size, then it's that. But I think I could have given some pointers about, like, focus on, like, the thickness rather than the length, because so many people think about the length. You know, I think you could have given some pointers. Anyway, so at this point, from here until the end of the episode was when I started to go, maybe this show has some redeeming qualities. I wrote down a bunch of quotes. Oh, it also had some of the most unhinged stuff. But I wrote down a couple of quotes. I really enjoyed, Tui said to Mack, your feminist brothel is a massive boner killer and you're making us broke with your ethical bullshit. I just really enjoyed that. And I was like, correct. And I just think it was just a great demonstration of the way that people come in and try and impose shit on the industry and just don't have a fucking clue about it. Of course, being feminist doesn't mean it has to be a boner killer. But yeah, I don't know. I just liked that line. And then that's when she grabs the brothel phone. I think Mack must leave it unattended, and she starts cold contacting people who are in this address book. And so she gets a booking out of it. Now, for some of the most accurate portrayal of the sex industry that you'll ever see.
This is the only point where I've written, ha, 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 ha. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The client wants to delay coming because he wants to, quote, got to get my money's worth. And what they show is the clock, like, approaching the vertical point, and it's like maybe 4 minutes. I think what they're saying is there's only a few minutes left of the booking, and he's leaving it until, like, the last possible minute, which is fucked because you've also got to get a shower in. And then because he does that, he psychs himself out and he's unable to come, and that happens all the fucking time. The part that then goes on to happen, which doesn't normally and obviously should never, is he bloody demands a refund because he's a fucking gronk.
I loved in that bit where they're having what looks to be fairly decent sex. They're going at it. They both seem enthusiastic. Everything's going great. It is good sex. Everyone's having a good time.
Yep.
And then he says, stop or I'll come. And the mood is dead. The mood is killed. So you killed it. What was a really good time. So you can have 3 more minutes.
It was obviously very good because you were about to come.
Yes.
And everyone was having a lovely bloody time.
Exactly. Yep. And then you've killed that so that you can have 3 more minutes now of her. And that was a bit where I was laughing a lot, where she does these really eye-rolly faces and this lackluster moaning and she's doing her job, but she's not happy about it. And look, and clearly he couldn't finish because he fucked it. So I agree. I thought that was really funny. It was so accurate and I adored that. I did laugh a lot.
I agree. Her reaction was perfect. Yeah. So realistic. Like that. I was like, that's exactly how it feels. And you just go, okay, cool. It's very clear to me that I am literally a slave for you. So I'll just chill here until the booking ends then.
Yeah.
And then they'll be upset. It's like, oh, you don't seem into it. And it's like, well, like, what? I was having a lovely bloody time.
Yes. We nearly got there together.
Gross.
And then you treated me like less than a human. So, sorry, that's not my kink.
So then the police come and whatever.
They have this big argument in the motel car park, and I'm baffled how this motel is running. I don't know if most civilians would be comfortable with, and going to lean into the stigma here, but with sex workers and cops yelling and arguing out in the car park. I mean, staying at a motel, I don't want people screaming outside my door anyway. But with the stigma attached as well, the fact that it's over money for sex, I can just imagine that that would spread really fast, and I can't imagine that the motel continues to do any business. Was really bizarre to me.
Totally. I mean, even just the fact that there's sex work going on in the motel beyond the amount that normally happens because it's accommodation, but the way it's like operating semi as a brothel, that alone is going to kill business. Like, that's bonkers. But maybe, I mean, it seems like not the best place. Maybe they had no business to start with. And I don't know.
Perhaps you're right. Yeah.
So after that whole debacle, Mack agrees basically to try things to his way. Mack concedes that maybe she doesn't know everything about this industry she discovered on Wednesday. And I wrote down, she said, quote, "Food on the table, roof overhead, they're the most important things." And I was like, yeah, bitch, you think? Like, yeah, sorry, yes. Like, it's so enraging. As you said, like, doesn't know the first thing about business, and now is like, it's actually, you do need to have revenue. It is good to eat and to have I don't know why she needs a roof overhead because they're all just slumber partying in this random motel. But, yes, babe, those things are important. You need to have customers in order to make your $35,000 a week or whatever the fuck you think you're going to make. Then we get to this episode's unhinged scene. I wonder if every episode just has one completely crazy scene. This is where Goldie says, I can't do this. I'm not, like, cut out for this. Mack tells Tui, well, you need to, like, talk to her, bring her around. And so Tui gives Goldie an instructional booking session.
They do talk a little bit and then she leads into that.
Which, and like when I worked for the first time in a massage parlor, I had a similar session where the receptionist at the time was like, have you done this sort of work before? And I said, no. And so she paired me up with a worker that had been there a while, and we both went into one of the rooms, and she like showed me what she does and climbed around the bed, and she was like, you be the client, I do this. Like it was a little bit like that, like this scene.
Clinical.
Except we were not fucking.
Yes.
It was very clinical. It was not like the two of us were having a romantic interlude. She was just kind of because it's like, because it's not a bed, it's a massage table. Yeah. So she was kind of demonstrating how I climb on here and then here's a good way, like just things like that, right? Which was very beneficial, but it was not arousing in the slightest. It wasn't like dim lighting it. Like we just had all the lights on and we just did the thing, right? She wasn't trying to make me come. I wasn't trying to make her come. Like, it was none of that. Plus, the vast majority of your clientele in a brothel are going to be men. So I actually don't know what the value in learning how to make a woman feel good, and I think people are all the same, whatever gender they are. But, like, the physical things, knowing how to operate a vulva isn't the same.
Yeah. It was fucking awful.
But, yeah, crazy.
It was so awful. It was just, again, gratuitous nonsense. It was, let's show people fucking and make it really titillating and audacious, a little saucy. Ooh, it's a woman and a woman. It just was fucking silly, and I hated it.
Yeah.
Hated it.
I wrote down a few quotes from this scene, though. I agree.
Written one
the scene
down
was the worst. It made no sense, but I liked a few quotes. All right, give me yours.
No, you give me yours, and I'll go next.
Oh, all right.
Go on.
Okay.
Go on, baby.
I liked sex work isn't really about having sex, and the follow-up, it's about having as little sex as possible, which I was like, that's pretty relatable.
That's good. That was a good quote.
But like the first sentence, sex work isn't really about having sex, is so bang on.
True.
So bang on.
Yeah.
Like that's not the hard part of the job. That's not the work. That's, and then her saying it's about having as little sex as possible. Well, it depends on the client and your mood and how your body's feeling and all of that. But sometimes they're very, very, very true. I didn't mind the line. I thought this was a line that actually needed to be said to clients, not to workers, which was, don't do what you think you should do what will make me feel good. And I just thought I would like a lot of people to hear that line in the world who are having sex.
Yeah.
Like that's actually, yeah. And then when Goldie's saying like, oh, did you always want to be a sex worker or something? And Tui's kind of talking about the different reasons they come to and why sex work works for them, which I think is great. And there's some really good points in there. Like she raises kind of a couple of different motivating factors for the different workers. But one of the things she says is some other jobs she worked at, the hours sucked and having a boss sucked. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like that's a sentiment that I think so many of us share. It's weird though to then be working in a brothel if having a boss sucks.
Yeah.
But anyway.
In that scene, there was one line that stood out to me. And Tui says to Goldie, it's the broken and the fucked up that need us. And I was like,
oh, yes.
Oh, yuck. Can you?
No, she said that to Mack, didn't she?
Oh, okay. Was it there? Okay. Apologies. Yeah. Right. Okay. So my bad. Maybe she said it to Mack. But I just thought that was fucked. I hate this. I'm not here to put the needs of the clients above our own, but there's always this stigmatization of clients, of the idea that, and it was sort of alluded to earlier on where they were talking about Mack having blocked a whole lot of people on the phone. And they were like, the freaks are our clients. And it's like, okay, sure, we get lots of weirdos. But also most of our clients are normal people. Somebody you love is a sex worker and somebody you love is also a client and actually is far more likely 100%. A client because the client to worker ratio is
the numbers.
That's how the numbers work.
Absolutely.
So acting like they're all broken and fucked up. We all are. I mean, that's humans are messy. But we're just people and so are our clients. And I don't like this idea that the people that go to see sex workers are shameful or that they're lesser people and that's why they're seeing a sex worker. That icks me out and I'm disappointed that they had that line in there.
Yeah, so when I heard it, I had a visceral reaction. I was like, what the fuck? And then I did some thinking and I actually don't think it's as bad as it initially sounded, but civilians watching it aren't going to do that thinking and aren't going to know. So it's still bad. It shouldn't have been in there. But the more I thought about it, I think to me, I kind of thought about it as it's speaking to, this isn't the way it was and it needs to have not been in the show, but it spoke to this thing like you referenced where we're all a bit broken and fucked up. And this idea that Mack is very like, oh no, we're not saying this guy because he has a fetish and we're not saying this person because he's a bit weird and we're not like all of this judgmental stuff. And Tui should have said the people who have fetishes and the people who are a little bit weird and just people are actually who we need, because I felt like that was almost what it was saying. Like these people that you think are fucked up are actually just our clients. Anyway, I know that's not what it was saying. It's not what she said, but I went, oh, and then I was like, okay, maybe there's, how my brain does that. I was like, maybe there's a way to make that sentence work.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, I get that absolutely may well have been what they were going for. It could be.
No, they weren't.
But
I guess it was about the reliance thing. That's all it was. Sorry. Yeah, the word choice was poor, but it made me think about this stuff with like the Nordic model, for instance, when everyone's like, fuck the clients. And Tui was saying, well, we need them, actually. Like, it doesn't matter what you think of them. And we obviously wouldn't call them fucked up. But actually this ecosystem is a two-way system. And actually, like, what is your business without customers? So And I think that I can't even remember what happened at the very end.
That it pretty much ended abruptly on the end of that awful sex scene. So
Oh, was that?
Yeah, it was
great.
really foul.
Okay. Lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So end way of summing it up. Holly hated it. I had an enjoyable time, but I did not enjoy the representation. And I think particularly what upset me about the representation was that it was portrayed as being good representation.
Yes.
Like, they used the word sex worker throughout. Like, they ticked a few of the boxes, right? And as we said, I thought it was very clear just from watching it before I even found this out that they did have sex workers engaged in the process. It came through very clearly. So they did some of the good things. And in some ways that almost does more damage. Because when people are watching Law & Order SVU, you know, like whatever, it is reasserting the status quo, but that's already asserted. So it's not great to contribute to that, but it's like we already know the dead hooker tropes, right? But when something like this comes along, I can see a lot of people watching it and being like, oh, I'm very progressive, I'm very supportive of the sex industry.
You're right.
And then using this as their Bible, as their guideline for what should and shouldn't be happening in the industry and how it actually works and blah, blah, blah. And it's actually, you know, not accurate, has some damaging shit in there, and a lot of fucking savior complex, because it doesn't matter what decade or country we're in, there's always going to be, we can't exist without savior complexes.
Yeah, the brothel gander of it really was gross, and I'm not into that.
I wonder if there's a brothel in Gander. There probably isn't. But that would be funny, because then they could call it brothel Gander.
Yeah. I think they've got other things to worry about. You mean in Ghana?
No, in Gander. Brothel Ghana. Doesn't even... No, Gander is in Newfoundland.
I know, baby.
Okay, right.
It's, Nordic model.
And I don't think they... I'm pretty sure they have like 10 people that live there. I'm pretty sure they don't have a brothel.
Thank you to our beautiful patrons. We love you so much. We love you more than we love brothels. Thank you to our...
Yeah.
it's accurate.
Do you think these are ethical patrons?
These are the most ethical patrons. I think that they're going to change the culture of the industry. Thank you to our new giving somebody, Microbiome, our new very generous somebody, Chelsea, our even more generous somebodies, the Riley McDonald, the Desiree Framboise, the Ashley Stafford, the Rhiannon Rhodes, Lachlan, Timmy, Steve, Adele, Leslie, Biggie, NK, Andrew, Wheezy, Mr. E, Simon, Nomad, Luke, Frankie, Not So Witty Comment, Josh, Alex, Damon, and Not a 9-incher.
And our extremely ethically generous somebodies, Aaron, Pete, the Sienna Saint, Tim, and Mr. Sikunt. Mr. Ethical Sikunt.
Yeah. Has a big one. Has lots of opinions on that show. I really never ever want to watch it again. Awful.
I think I will finish it.
Good.
Maybe I won't. I don't know. I don't feel like I need, but I would like to know if the representation gets better.
Sure.
I would like to know if
it redeems itself.
Yeah.
I would like you to let me know on that. I won't be doing it myself, but I'd like to hear that from you. And
It's be interesting. Yeah. Or listeners, let us know if you have watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think workers were pretty 50-50 on it. Right. Like I think people were like, it's not too bad, and people were like, I quite like it, and people were like, nah, it's a bit shit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's as polarizing as some of the unhinged shit out there, but it's like, I think some people are down with it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But they're wrong.
Look, I have very specific tastes. If there's no alien in it, I'm struggling. So, it's hard.
Well, no, there probably won't be, because it's illegal for aliens to do sex work in New Zealand.
Whoa.
Because they don't actually have decrim.
Drop.
That's it.
She said
I
it.
smashed
She
it.
went there.
I did it.
Thank you,
I went
guys.
there.
See you when we see you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye. Please look out for us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Patreon. Our name everywhere is Somebody You Pod, as in podcast. Our Patreon starts at just $3 a month, and you can get all of our episodes ad-free and a day early, plus bonus episodes, behind-the-scenes action, bloopers, and more. Thank you for taking the time to listen to the voices of sex workers. And remember, somebody you love might just be a sex worker.